Grounding alarm panel devices that have multiple ground terminals involves a specific procedure to ensure safety and compliance with the electrical codes. The process begins by interconnecting the device ground terminals. Use an appropriately sized green or bare copper wire, typically 12 AWG or 14 AWG, to connect the ground terminals of the main control board and the two expansion modules together. This creates a common ground point for all the devices. Next, if possible, install a ground bar within the enclosure where the devices are located. Connect the interconnected ground wire to a ground bar terminal using a screw or bolt. The ground bar should be bonded to the enclosure's metal frame or other permanently grounded component. This provides a central point for grounding within the enclosure. Then locate a suitable location outside the enclosure for the ground rod. Drive an 8-foot-long, copper-clad or galvanized ground rod into the ground. This ground rod will serve as the primary grounding point for the entire system. Run a separate 6 AWG bare copper wire from the ground bar to the ground rod. Attach the wire to the ground rod using a clamp or bolt. This connection provides a low impedance path to earth for any fault currents. Ensure that all connections are secure and tight. Loose connections can create resistance and compromise the effectiveness of the grounding system. Use a multimeter to test for continuity between the device ground terminals, the ground bar, and the ground rod. This confirms that a continuous ground path exists throughout the system. Follow all applicable electrical codes and regulations for grounding practices. These codes provide detailed requirements for grounding systems to ensure safety and proper operation. Grounding serves several important purposes. Firstly, it protects personnel from electrical shock by providing a low impedance path for fault currents to return to the source. This causes the overcurrent protection device, such as a circuit breaker or fuse, to trip and energize the circuit. Secondly, grounding minimizes the risk of fire by preventing the buildup of static electricity and providing a path for fault currents. Thirdly, grounding helps to stabilize voltage levels and reduce electrical noise, which can improve the performance of electronic equipment. The size of the grounding wire is determined by the size of the overcurrent protection device protecting the circuit. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides tables that specify the minimum size of grounding conductors based on the rating of the overcurrent protection device. For example, NEC Table 250.122 provides guidance on equipment grounding conductor sizing. It is important to consult the latest edition of the NEC for the most up-to-date requirements. The ground rod should be installed in an area where the soil is moist and conductive. Avoid installing the ground rod in areas with dry or rocky soil, as this can increase the resistance of the ground connection. If the soil is not conductive, it may be necessary to use multiple ground rods or to treat the soil with a ground-enhancing compound. The ground rod should be driven into the ground so that at least 8 feet of the rod is in contact with the soil. The top of the ground rod should be flush with or below the surface of the ground to prevent it from being a tripping hazard. The connection between the grounding wire and the ground rod should be made with a clamp or bolt that is listed for direct burial. The clamp or bolt should be made of a corrosion-resistant material, such as copper or stainless steel, to prevent it from corroding over time. The grounding wire should be protected from physical damage by running it in conduit or by burying it underground. If the grounding wire is exposed to physical damage, it may become damaged or disconnected, which can compromise the effectiveness of the grounding system. The ground bar should be securely mounted to the enclosure using screws or bolts. The ground bar should be made of a conductive material, such as copper or aluminum, and should be large enough to accommodate all of the grounding wires that will be connected to it. The ground bar should be located in a place where it is easily accessible for inspection and maintenance. The connections between the grounding wires and the ground bar should be made with screws or bolts that are tightened securely. The connections should be clean and free of corrosion. The grounding system should be inspected periodically to ensure that it is in good condition and that all connections are tight and free of corrosion. If any problems are found, they should be corrected immediately. It is important to use the correct tools and equipment when working with electrical systems. Use insulated tools to prevent electrical shock. Wear safety glasses to protect your eyes from flying debris. Use a voltage tester to verify that circuits are de-energized before working on them. It is also important to follow all applicable safety procedures when working with electrical systems. Never work on live circuits. Always de-energize the circuit before working on it. Use lockout-tagout procedures to prevent the circuit from being accidentally energized. If you are not comfortable working with electrical systems, hire a qualified electrician to do the work. Working with electricity can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself from electrical shock. In some cases, it may be necessary to install a supplemental grounding electrode system in addition to the ground rod. A supplemental grounding electrode system consists of one or more additional ground rods that are connected to the main grounding system. A supplemental grounding electrode system may be required if the soil is not conductive or if the ground rod does not provide a sufficiently low impedance ground connection. The impedance of the grounding system should be measured periodically to ensure that it is within acceptable limits. The NEC requires that the impedance of the grounding system be less than 25 ohms. If the impedance of the grounding system is greater than 25 ohms, it may be necessary to install a supplemental grounding electrode system or to treat the soil with a ground-enhancing compound. Grounding is an essential safety measure that helps to protect people and property from electrical hazards. By following the proper grounding procedures, you can ensure that your electrical system is safe and reliable. The interconnected ground wire needs to be large enough to handle the potential fault current. Typically, the same size wire as the circuit conductors is used, but local codes may specify a different size. The ground bar provides a convenient point to connect multiple grounding conductors together. It should be securely mounted to the enclosure and made of a conductive material like copper or aluminum. The connection to the ground rod should be made with a listed connector suitable for direct burial. The connector should be corrosion resistant and provide a secure connection to the ground rod. The 6 AWG wire is a common size for connecting the ground bar to the ground rod, but the specific size may vary depending on the application and local codes. The ground rod should be driven into the earth until at least 8 feet of its length is in contact with the soil. A location of the ground rod should be chosen carefully to ensure that it is in an area with good soil conductivity and is not subject to physical damage. Proper grounding is crucial for the safe and reliable operation of electrical equipment. It helps to prevent electrical shock, fire hazards, and equipment damage. It is important to consult with a qualified electrician to ensure that your grounding system is properly designed and installed. Electrical codes and regulations vary by location, so it is essential to follow the specific requirements in your area. The NEC provides comprehensive guidance on grounding and bonding requirements. It is a valuable resource for electricians and other professionals working with electrical systems. Grounding is not the same as bonding. Grounding connects electrical equipment to the earth, while bonding connects different metallic parts of the electrical system together to create a low impedance path for fault currents. Both grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety. The purpose of grounding is to provide a low impedance path for fault currents to return to the source, which causes the overcurrent protection device to trip and de-energize the circuit. The purpose of bonding is to minimize voltage differences between different metallic parts of the electrical system, which reduces the risk of electrical shock. The NEC specifies the requirements for both grounding and bonding. It is important to follow these requirements carefully to ensure the safety of your electrical system. Grounding and bonding are complex topics, and it is important to have a thorough understanding of the principles involved. If you are not comfortable working with electrical systems, hire a qualified electrician to do the work. Working with electricity can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself from electrical shock. One consideration in grounding is the type of soil. Sandy soil tends to be less conductive than clay soil, requiring longer or multiple ground rods. Soil testing can determine the soil resistivity. This information can be used to calculate the required length and number of ground rods. Ground enhancing compounds can improve soil conductivity around the ground rod. These compounds are typically made of minerals that absorb moisture and increase the contact area between the ground rod and the soil. The location of the ground rod is also important. It should be located in an area that is not subject to freezing or drying out. The ground rod should also be protected from physical damage. If the ground rod is located in an area where it is likely to be damaged, it should be protected by a fence or other barrier. In some cases, it may be necessary to use a concrete-encased electrode, also known as a UFO ground. A UFO ground is a grounding electrode that is encased in concrete. UFO grounds are typically used in new construction, where the grounding electrode can be installed before the concrete is poured. UFO grounds provide a very low impedance ground connection. They are often used in critical applications, such as hospitals and data centers. The size of the grounding wire is also important. The grounding wire must be large enough to carry the maximum fault current. The size of the grounding wire is determined by the size of the overcurrent protection device. The NEC provides tables that specify the minimum size of grounding conductors. It is important to consult the NEC to determine the correct size of grounding wire for your application. The grounding wire should be connected to the ground rod with a listed connector. The connector should be made of a corrosion-resistant material and should be properly installed. A common mistake is to use an unlisted connector or to improperly install the connector. This can result in a high-resistance connection, which can compromise the effectiveness of the grounding system. The grounding system should be inspected regularly to ensure that it is in good condition. The grounding wire should be checked for corrosion and damage. The connections should be checked to ensure that they are tight and secure. The ground rod should be checked to ensure that it is not damaged or corroded. If any problems are found, they should be corrected immediately. Grounding is a critical safety measure that helps to protect people and property from electrical hazards. By following the proper grounding procedures, you can ensure that your electrical system is safe and reliable. In summary, grounding alarm panel devices with multiple ground terminals involves several key steps. Firstly, interconnecting the ground terminals of the devices using appropriate sized copper wire, typically 12 AWG or 14 AWG. Secondly, connecting the interconnected ground wire to a ground bar within the enclosure, ensuring the ground bar is bonded to the enclosure's metal frame. Thirdly, installing an 8-foot-long ground rod outside the enclosure. Fourthly, connecting the ground bar to the ground rod using a 6 AWG bare copper wire and a suitable clamp or bolt. Remember to ensure all connections are secure and tight, test for continuity, and follow all applicable electrical codes and regulations. These steps create a safe and effective grounding system for your alarm panel devices.